Okay, I think this is on now. Good morning, everyone. I'm normally used to speaking to my peers and of architects, and it's so refreshing that I don't get to do that this morning, so I'm super excited. I hope not too many architects in this room, or I think Evan, maybe one of you. Let me just start with the story. So I live in a conventional residential neighborhood in North York, and my neighbor Eva, who is about 80, 85, and she lives in a 3,000 square foot home, way too big for her, and doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to go into retirement home, especially since COVID, and it seems like nobody wants to be there. And one of my colleagues at the office, Robin, who's in his 30s, just expecting their second child, lives in a small little condo, looking to expand, can't find any options. So, our office about 2 years ago really started thinking about how can we bring these two groups together in a way that actually solves problems. And so we did a little bit of a deep dive into what the supply is currently in the dwelling typologies. And I apologize for this chart, but basically the red represents apartments in a condo form. The yellow represents rows and townhouses, and the blue represents single detached. And I'm sure you can see that, the supply of the single detached homes is shrinking, and it continues to shrink, as you can see. And when the government makes announcements about 10,000 units, 20,000 units, we're talking predominantly in the realm of high-rise apartment, whether it's in a rental form or condominium form. And I think in 2022, we're seeing almost 90% of the new supply is in the kind of the apartment condo form. And I think that's a problem. And I think in 2000, so a comparison to 2002, where we had a more of a balanced supply of kind of 50% to 50% sort of low-rise and single detached, we see, again, in 20 years, we've gone almost 90-10. And so I think we could all agree that as much as we love living in condos, certainly that cannot be the only form of housing available to us. So in the GTA, there is a thing called the yellow belt, and it's as opposed to the green belt. The yellow belt represents about 70 to 75% of the land mass in the GTA that's restricted currently, or was until this year, for only single detached homes. Now, our office, and then you can see the areas of existing new development has been focused on all the avenues and basically the downtown core, where there's a lot of mixed-use high-rise developments. And one of the things that one of the things that the city, along with our office, has been also very involved and engaged in this process is the city has recognized that this is a problem, and their solution is they introduced in June of this year the multiplex bylaw. And basically multiplexes are triplexes, fourplexes, up to fourplex, and doesn't go further than that, but something that addresses more than one unit per lot. And sorry, I'm going the opposite way. So we think that the solution to some of this housing crisis and the imbalance in the supply could be in the multiplexes, so the triplexes and the fourplexes. So just in terms of the market size, there's just roughly about under 900,000 detached homes in the GTA. If we had 1%, we're talking 1% adoption, it could bring in additional 25,380 new units, new homes, and potentially replace 65 36-story high-rise condo buildings. And if we look at the larger Ontario market, the Ford government talks about 1.5 million homes, 2 million homes. At 18% adoption, we could get there. Now, there are a lot of skeptics. Most of you probably are thinking this is probably not the solution, but basically at 18% adoption, we could see almost 500,000 lots. So 500,000 lots with almost 1.5 million new homes being created in these lots. The advantages of the multiplexes compared to a conventional mid-rise and a high-rise building, which this is a business I'm in, it takes anywhere from average 5 to 7 years to get a high-rise project started from inception to getting the approvals, sales, and construction to market. So it's 5 to 7 years average. We think that the multiplexes could kind of, do this hurdle within 12 to 18 months. And I think that's really where the advantage is. So I want to introduce you this morning to Clip Homes. And by the way, our website is live as of today. And so you're welcome to go to cliphomes.com to check out our website. But basically, we believe that the future is flexible. So what we do is we design, permit, manufacture, and install future-proof multiplexes across the GTA and beyond. And by the way, we love working with builders, and we'll continue to collaborate with builders as well. And so we're not just doing it solo. So you guys, many of you guys are probably in the industry doing multi-unit residential development, or I'm sure there are developers in this room. One of the things that we recognize being in the industry is ascertaining certainties. Certainty is important. Right now, there's no certainty in terms of financing. The market has very little certainty. The approval certainties are risky. And so what we did, and the beauty of the new multiplex bylaw, which you can go to the City of Toronto, find out what the bylaw entails, it gives you the approval certainty. So they said 4 plexes as of right across. You just have to go to minor variants, and those are sort of minor processes, but we have the approval certainty. The pieces that we're missing is cost, time, and financing. And so one of the key things, and hopefully financing, will continue to get better as we get the cost and time approved certainty kind of nailed down. But what Clip Homes does is it really takes that cost and time certainty and just eliminates the risk associated with that. And that's really our goal. We're trying to lower barriers to entry for housing consumers. So going back to Robin, one of our guys who work for us, 30 years of age, mid-30s, looking to grow his family, now has an option where he can move into one of our multiplex Clip Homes. And I'm going to go back to this slide later, but basically Clip Homes optimizes city living with sustainable, scalable housing solutions. So what's really beautiful about this whole multiplex bylaw is that the yellow belt has these things called roads, and every road has infrastructure. They've got gas lines, water lines, sewage lines already existing. So what we're doing effectively is just optimizing those infrastructure. So we're not creating new ones. We're not like City Place and Harborfront creating brand new infrastructure. We're optimizing existing infrastructure, and I think that's really, really awesome. In terms of the history of where we are, Bill 23 got passed in November 2022. The multiplex bylaw got passed in June 2023. I believe there's other municipalities like Kitchener, Guelph, and Hamilton that have now started adopting these new bylaws. And Clip Homes we recently launched Clip Homes to be able to address this new generation of homes that are going to be super exciting. So not all square feet are designed equally. So as a departure from the kind of the high rises and the mid rises, and I'm sure many of you guys have been to a mid rise or a condo recently, they have a double loaded corridor. You enter into the door and you see a window at the end. Typically 1 bedroom that has a window, and then you've got a living room. What we have instead is windows on all 3 sides and a massive balcony, which is one of the key kind of features of what we're trying to do. We've also engaged some of the top interior design talent in the city to be able to build materials and create really high quality units that are above and beyond what the market currently provides. We're introducing currently the 3 models, and then there's a custom model, but the 3 models are the 19 footers, the 22 footers, and the 25 footers. They average from 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet, 1,400 square feet. And they're just, again, the key is repeatability and scalability. The other things that we recognize as one of the risks has to do with underground. So anytime when you're dealing with underground subsurface basement work, there's issues around dewatering, and the city won't let you do a permanent discharge anymore. There's shoring and all the risks associated with underground construction. We've really eliminated that. We're just doing very lightly, minimally touching the earth. Our lower level units are only about 2 to 3 feet below grade, and so makes the accessibility issue really work. But again, vertically stacked units that are really just designed for efficiency. Now, I think one of our key advantages, so we want to bring a little bit of kind of creativity and something a little new to our homes, because we said, as an office, we said, what can we do in this day and age to really create something that, I was having a conversation with Evan earlier, one of the speakers, and we're like, why, having traveled around the world, why is housing in Toronto, in Canada, so poor? I mean, how many of you guys have been in condominiums where it's breaking down and there's just so many things that are just wrong? And so, we really wanted to kind of incorporate features sort of that anchor, and these are some of the key things. One is that we're using a combination of wood, but also with recycled steel structure. For energy, we're using ground source heat pump, which is a big thing. Continuous fresh air, that's going to be very important because we've got such a tight envelope. We're going to have all of our projects solar and net zero ready. There's going to be front yard, backyard. We're going to have an integrated storage shed, 9-foot clear ceiling. We have windows on 3 sides, and I think this is really, really important because having windows and having daylight is a really key part of this thing. And then digital twin. So we're incorporating, and we can speak about some of the partnerships that are coming up, but one of the key things that we believe is important is information. And what we've done is every Clip home resident or developer will get a digital twin of their unit. And so you're going to know exactly where your plumbing lines go, where your electrical chases are. Every little detailed aspect of the unit gets delivered as a digital twin. And then, of course, smart home integration that comes in as a part of that. So one of the key things that we recognized as architects is even if we draw with the best of intentions, unless it gets translated into the final build form, the time that we spend are completely useless. So we recognized early on that we needed to partner up with precision manufacturers and to do off-site installation. Off-site installation is basically this. I don't know if anybody's been involved in construction, but typically the way that it works currently today is 80% is at the site, 80% of the work and the dollar value is at the site, 20% is off-site, things like windows and millwork and things like that. And so 80-20 is what we split. So we want to reverse that. So 80% of the contract value is off-site and then only 20% on-site. Why is this important? This is important because we have in this beautiful country weather. We have snow. Today it's raining. We have, sometimes it's too cold, sometimes it gets too hot. And depending on the weather, the site can shut down. So in an average home where you've got 12 months of construction, I would imagine that the actual work is closer to 3 to 4 months only, and the rest of the time it just sits idle and that's inefficient. We believe that is inefficient. So the other thing that we're doing is working with our partner BVB here. Instead of using construction traditional methods, we're using auto manufacturing intelligence to bring about precision manufacturing, but also different way of thinking and doing and building and assembling materials. So that's going to be a key thing. So again, why Club Homes? We're doing end-to-end service, efficient, timely construction. So being in the construction industry and being an architect for about 25 years and designing homes for a living, I hate to admit it, but I've never been involved in a construction project where we've actually come on time or come on budget. And I hate to say it, but that is the reality. there's a lot of risks. I mean, I think you guys all know there's a lot of risk associated with construction. And so we really wanted to kind of not eliminate that risk, but significantly reduce that risk. Resilience is very important. With the climate changing, we need to build our homes to be resilient, to be able to, we're incorporating triple pane windows as our kind of base model, high performance building envelope, ensuring that there's proper overhangs and setbacks that allow for minimal solar heat gain and things like that. So resilience is very, very important. And I want to speak about also creating these threshold spaces, which I'm going to get to. But we can achieve elevated craftsmanship through scale and, again, our components being made in a factory versus in an on-site. And, I've been to so many job sites where, trades would just cut a piece of lumber and then the rest of, like 2x4, let's say, and cut half, use half, and then the other half goes into the garbage. There's just so much waste that happens in a construction site that we really wanted to kind of have minimal, again, housing with minimal impact on earth to be able to say sustainability, both in terms of what we throw out, but also the kind of the energy that we continue to use in our buildings. And then lastly, cost certainty. Cost certainty is paramount, especially in this day and age where capital is very tight. We recognize that this is a very, 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 very important aspect of any construction. So this is how it works. 1 month pre-construction. We do the survey, we test and make sure that it works. 4 months approvals, design and permits. We're saying 7 months, but we want to try to target this down to 4 to 5 months and then move in. It's going to be a 12-month cycle. We're hoping that it'll be less than that, but that's the goal. Currently, our products are being manufactured in Guelph with our partners at BVB, delivered and assembled and delivered hopefully to your municipality. Scalability is a big component, and there's a lot of skeptics out there, including some of well-known planners in the city have always been skeptical about this whole multiplex having any meaningful impact to the housing supply in the city, and challenge accepted. So we love that challenge because we think that we can scale this, and we can scale this meaningfully with partnerships with builders and with hopefully with Foremost Financial and investors and developers like yourself. We currently have 14 plus projects in progress, 200 plus units in the pipeline, roughly about 67,000 square feet in progress, and about 240,000 square feet in the pipeline. We think that this is only a drop in the bucket, but it is just the starting point. We currently have projects sort of mostly in the downtown core, but spread across. But we really, really are looking to change this. We have our 3 pillars are based on analysis, automation, and advocacy. So we created a lab with TMU just recently, and we are working with the university to collect data. We're creating a basically data analysis center with TMU to collect data on various information as it pertains to lot widths and geographically mapping out all the kind of the regions areas that are a lot more conducive to our projects. We're focused on automation. We're working with partners like BVB, Dassault Systems to really automate this process. And then finally, advocacy. We have a pipeline of communication that we're doing with the City of Toronto. We've engaged Greg Lintern and some of the chief planners in the city. It's too bad Greg is retiring, but anyway, so we have this advocacy that we're constantly in communication with the city to tell them what we're doing and to provide this constant feedback loop. And our mission is based on kind of 4 parts, and I apologize, it's very hard to read this, but we want to recognize the growing demand for innovative housing. I think there is a demand for people wanting to create, to be in a place more than just a 500 square foot condo. I think really to 1,200 to 1,400 square feet is a lot more humane place to live. That's at grade housing. We want to disrupt low-rise construction industry. I know that's a lot of people use that as a token terminology to throw it out there, but and I know, and there's many of you guys that are in the space, and I respect, and this is a very challenging space, but we really think that we need to bring talent, and we need to bring intentionality to really solve this issue by bringing some intelligence in that industry. Third is leveraging cutting-edge technology. There's incredible resources and technology that's available out there, and we believe that if you think through every aspect of the construction processes, we're looking to streamline it and shave time on each and every single line item. And lastly, we want to change the industry by catering to the needs of the changing demographics. So, just as an example, and I want to bring this. Sorry, I'm gonna bring point number 4 towards the end of my slide. So we've got these strategic partnerships with both with Septerra. I'm gonna start with BVB Manufacturing, Blue Valley, with Jim Marshall here, who's sitting right in front of me. And Jim comes from, used to work at Magna for 25 years, and he brings in auto manufacturing, precision, but also kind of manufacturing know-how to the whole construction process, which is super, super exciting. Dassault Systems, which we're partnering up with them to, with the software and all the, so, you know, I don't know if you guys know what CAD used to be, like 2D drafting. So those are like earlier generation. And then there's a thing called the Revit, which is the 3D modeling, which most architects use now. But there's a third generation of software that integrates not only information about the components, but it's because it's connected to the industry, it actually, but changing the shape of, let's say, of a panel component, it can actually tell you how much it weighs, the panel weight. It tells you how many screws it needs. It tells you where the components are coming from, and it also tells you, so it takes you cost, timeline, weight, and all the components. It's I think it's called the 4D of computing technology when it comes to kind of, so it's not like we've gone beyond just like, you know, drafting. This is now a whole different level of manufacturing standards that we're trying to apply. As I mentioned to you, we've got a research team with TMU we've just recently launched, the data science lab, which is like super interesting with the built environment. Our partner at BVB also has a partnership with TMU looking at panel engineering and testing and data, which we're super connected to and looking into. We've got this incredible partnership with Mason Studio, one of the preeminent interior designers in the city, and of course, Studio JCI, who is you know, a big industry leader on the various different housing scales that exist. You know, these are some of the projects that we've done successfully, and they're older and they're completed. But I want to actually jump right into some of the technology that we're continuing. So, you know, we're not just like, we recognize to get here it requires a lot of R&D, and you know, we've been, along with BVB, working with, like we tried with metal studs, with wood studs, metal studs and wood, metal studs and, you know, dense glass, and different kind of incorporating different ways of assembling things. Like, you know, we're figuring out a different way to lay out, you know, footings to foundation walls, you know, and we know that we have to do this hybrid steel wood concrete structure to ensure that we're OBC compliant, and dealing with the building department is a whole different headache. But, you know, we're getting there, and, you know, we think that, again, that we're in the right path to kind of solve this issue, which is trying to focus all of the manufacturing in the factory environment as much as possible, because they say that 15 to 20 minute factory labor is equivalent to about a 1 hour field labor. And that's the kind of the equivalency. And this is one of the reasons why we got to build buildings in a factory, not on site. So we've been testing different kind of frames. We're also testing kind of zero net homes, panelized net homes. We really believe in this. The way that we do our footing is a little bit different. Our sandwich panels are light, so that they're designed to be light, so that we don't have like people having back issues in construction, and health in construction is a big thing. Just thinking a little bit differently, I think, allows us to do that, and we've been testing it for the last BVB, our partner, has been doing it for the last couple of years, and we continue to do this, and I think we're getting closer at a precipice where now we are starting to build our second generation of homes, hopefully starting construction in the next couple of weeks. This was an example of our first generation home, which is done more conventional method, but it's got more conventional way, but it's still attracting a lot of interest from various different groups. Finally, we have this thing called clip communities, where we're working with developers that own larger tracts of land, and being able to do, this is in Lakeshore in Oakville, where we're doing 30 units in a large kind of 8-acre kind of estate lots, where we're doing it slightly higher quality. And I wanted to bring you down to this and this is a little bit personal. So speaking of kind of generational housing, so my parents are in their 80s and they're getting old, and they have a choice. They can move to a retirement home. They could go to a nursing home, which I don't wish that upon the worst enemy. Nursing homes are like a death trap. So let's say retirement home, or we got to thinking as a family, hey, what if we did a lot consent? I have a large lot consent. We can build 6 units in here. My parents can move into the lower units. And then my parents can bring in some of their friends that they have, can also buy into or moving into the units. They can hire like a full-time caregiver, right? Because now it's being shared not by one, but maybe 4 or 5 elderly families. And now we've got this incredible opportunity to do a 6-plex with, 4 of them, requiring some level of care. And so this is where I think it's really, really interesting, is not only is this going to solve some multi-generational housing issues that we have, but it could potentially be one of many solutions to dealing with the aged and the older generations that are amongst us and that we love, our loved ones. And so I think we're super excited, and I think we're there, and we would love you to build with us. And so this is what we do: zoning, design, offsite manufacturing, on-site delivery, PM, project management, transportation, logistics, pro forma reviews, financing assistance, marketing and sales. And on that, we thank you very much. I hope it was helpful.